The problem right now with the New York Yankees is pretty simple. They depend too much on Aaron Judge. That bat is the only bat that is alive. Now, they say Jazz Chisholm, fine. He's hot. He came back. He's playing very well. Let's see if he's consistent. Aaron Judge has been the only consistent one. The fact is, Aaron Boone is not to be the blame of the way the Yankees are not hitting the ball. I know everybody wants to throw him under the bus and say he's held the Yankees back. How? The Yankees played in their first World Series in how many years? 14 years? Last year, and you're going to sit there and you're going to bitch and moan that Aaron Boone's held the Yankees back. Here's the problem with the New York Yankees, and it's pretty simple. And everyone wants to blame Brian Cashman, but Brian Cashman, as a GM, he's been a winning GM since he's gone there. Now, winning a World Series is probably the hardest thing to do in professional sports. They haven't won a World Series since 2009. It's been over 15 years. We all know that the Yankees are in a drought. And to say that Brian Cashman doesn't know what he's doing, I know Joba don't like him, and that's fine. He hurt Joba's career. He hurt a lot of people's career. But he has also been a winning pursuit of the Yankees culture. The Yankees are an organization that believes in winning. Now, winning would also tell you World Series, but again, it's not as easy as it seems when you have luxury tax. Ever since the luxury tax came into the league, what was that? 20 years ago, it's been different for the Yankees. Now, George Steinbrenner in the 90s had his way on who he wanted to bring in, what veteran he wanted to bring in, and how it fit with the Yankees culture. And they had a core of players. They had Derek Jeter and Bernie Williams and Mariano Rivera and Andy Pettitte and Jorge Posada. They had players that they built a core of talent. The Yankees over the years, the only core of talent they've had is Aaron Judge. And it's been a unique thought of where the Yankees go when it comes to the trade deadline or even in the offseason on how they're going to maneuver salaries and bring in a player of Max Fried or a Juan Soto, signing him to a $600, $700 million contract. It's not as easy as it seems when it comes to a cap and understanding how the luxury tax works, how much money the Yankees are going to owe to the league if they go after a player of that magnitude. And the Yankees are still a top 3, top 4 team right now in baseball when it comes to the salaries. So I know everybody wants to point their finger at Aaron Boone. Now, is Aaron Boone a great manager? What is a great manager? It's not easy to win championships. Maybe there's one guy that I could say is just that dominant of a manager, and he's right now managing over there in Texas. And you know what I'm talking about, Speedy. He's the only one that I can honestly say, well, he's an absolute slam dunk of a manager. Because everywhere he's gone, he's taken his team to a World Series. At least 3 teams to a World Series. He's won multiple championships. So it says a lot. And he's won 4 championships, 3 championships with one team, and 1 championship with another. And that was his first year as a manager with the Texas Rangers. He's the only one that I would say is a slam dunk. Over the years, everybody wants to brag about Joe Torre, how great of a manager he was. Meanwhile, he wasn't even the number 1 slam dunk manager that George Steinbrenner wanted to hire. He didn't want Joe Torre. He was the last guy on the totem pole. Joe Torre was successful because George Steinbrenner and the organization and Watson and Brian Cashman over the years built a farm system, built a core of players that changed the organization. Aaron Boone has not been a successful manager when it comes to winning. When you look at records, you compare Aaron Boone's record to any manager in baseball history in an 8-year stint. How many guys have a better record than Aaron Boone in an 8-year stint? And Aaron Boone, for the time that he's been with the New York Yankees, has been successful with the New York Yankees. Do I think it's Brian Cashman or Aaron Boone's fault that the Yankees aren't hitting? No. Brian Cashman gave Aaron Boone the players that he thought would fill in for Juan Soto. They haven't provided the offense that they thought. Bellinger has not provided the offense that they thought with his swing and the way his swing is in Yankee Stadium would be. He hasn't had the power, the numbers that he thought he would have. You're going to blame Aaron Boone because he's not going up to the plate. He's not swinging at the balls. Those players are. And again, going back to Jazz Chisholm, why is Jazz Chisholm opening his mouth? I don't want to hear about Jazz and what he thinks about the New York Yankees. The Yankees organization don't need a player like this. Nick Swisher for years was the bright face of the New York Yankees organization. And he never even said, we're the best team in baseball. We're the best. Nick Swisher said, listen, I love playing for the Yankees. The Yankees are a great organization, and I just hope that we're playing in October. You never hear that. Jazz Chisholm actually believes that the New York Yankees are the best team in baseball. Meanwhile, they've been the worst team in baseball in the month of June. So if the Yankees believe that they need another face in the dugout to get these players playing, we've seen this before. It has helped many over the years when it comes to baseball. Maybe that's what the Yankees need to do. Not because Aaron Boone is not a good manager, just because the Yankees are not hitting for him. The Yankees are not playing well with him in the dugout.
Aaron Boone should be winning, except there's a problem. And it's not the run differential that Michael Kay was pointing to, because I would say that's too rudimentary of a stat. We talked about it last week, Speedy. It's the lack of being clutch. It's the lack of coming up when the game is on the line and actually doing the right thing. And I always thought that good teams come through when it matters. And the Yankees haven't done that under Boone, except for a couple of guys. You mentioned them. Judge, obviously, having a Hall of Fame, type of career. If he can do this for another couple of years, he could do that in short order. But there's other guys just not stepping up when they need to. And it's not just the hitting, it's the pitching as well.
It's interesting where the Yankees could be after the All-Star break. But I don't think the Yankees should quit on Aaron Boone. I think they got to give him a chance to finish the season and see where everything lies. The Yankees don't fire managers in the middle of a season. I've never seen a Yankee manager get fired in the middle of a season. Not in my time.
How long was his extension?
Martin.
3 years.
They did that right away. As everyone was like,
because a lot of people
this
were
team
interested
had
in
a better manager, they would have performed better in the World Series. And I still think that might be true. But at the same time, how do you get rid of someone? Well, the Yankees did that with Girardi the year they fell short to the cheating Astros in 2017. And then that's when they went to Boone in the first place. So there's precedent for going really far in the playoffs. I mean, we saw it in basketball with the Knicks getting rid of Thibodeau in the Eastern Conference Finals. So you don't have to have a bad season to get fired. I don't know if Boone, if he can't turn this around, if they just say, whatever, where the Yankees will take the 2 years hit on your salary, but we need a new voice in there. Because I'm starting to get real worried that they can't compete with teams that I thought they were better than. I thought they were better than the Blue Jays. I thought that they're better than the Tampa Bay Rays, or at least on the level. And they're not playing as good as those two teams right now. And that's very worrisome because I don't think those two are even the best teams in the AL.
I think it's early. I still think the Yankees are going to win the American League East. They're the best team in the American League East. They haven't played that way in the month of June. They've been horrible in the month of June. But I think eventually when the bats start to figure things out, the lineup starts to figure things out, I think that lineup is quite better than it was last year, even with Juan Soto. Bellinger has not hit yet. I haven't seen Bellinger even get hot. I think he was on a 17-game hitting streak, and then after that, he wasn't the same player.
He hasn't been the same since that.
So the questions will lie about where the opportunity is at the trade deadline where the Yankees can add another bat. And I think the Yankees will, maybe even two bats.
I'm worried the fact that Jazz plays third base when he's a second baseman, and they have a shortstop that's one of the worst starting shortstops in baseball right now. I guess DJ LeMahieu is our starting third baseman, who really shouldn't be starting anywhere in Major League Baseball right now either. That's the big problem. They have two guys that are just two positions on the left side of the infield, complete holes on this team.
Well, Volpe not even only defensively, but offensively, he's left over 150 runners on base. That's only second to Nick Castellanos for the Phillies. So it's not that he's just costing them the glove. He's just not getting it done at the plate either.
I don't feel like Volpe has competitive at-bats. And I think that's something that I hear more of in analysis today. And I think as a pitcher, you would be able to say, like, is this guy, if I just throw a couple of pitches to him, this guy's going to put himself in a hole, and then it's going to be an easy at-bat for me. I'll throw him some junk, and he'll swing through it. That's fun. This is the way I can save some pitches. I know this guy's going to either ground this one right into the ground. If I throw this change up, he's just going to swing right over the top of it. Do you see that with the Yankees? Because I feel like outside of Judge, I don't like the at-bats, man.
There's a lot of, we call them, from the pitching side, NCPs, a non-competitive pitch. But there's some at-bats where, like, I wouldn't say deer in the headlights, but sometimes when he goes to the plate, it looks like he's already beat. And that may be in my own dome because I realize and I see the numbers of how many guys he's left on base. It's so hard not to know anymore because everything is so analytical and you have literally a dang iPad as soon as your at-bat's over. So you get to see your last 10 at-bats, how hard, whatever that case may be. So I think it's a little bit harder to get away from it now, to get out of that funk, where back in the day it was like you had to go searching to sit in the video room and to be like, okay, I want to see all my right-handed, guys that I face against left-handed, see my splits. So you had to make an effort to go where some people it's like, okay, I just want to get away from it. I got to, it's like they say, you miss 100 3-pointers, you shoot 100 more. You're going to figure it out at some point. But I think it gets so hard now with the access that you have that's ready available. I mean, literally, you can't walk in there and not see it or it being talked about because it's on everywhere. So it does feel like sometimes he goes up and it's just already an out and it's not going to be a competitive at bat and it's try to swing early so he doesn't get beat and in counts like that where, it's kind of the exact opposite of Soto. Yeah, he's not going to hit you 300, but he's probably going to have more walks than he is strikeouts, and he's going to give you almost 5 pitches in that bat.
Yeah.